Hey guys, what's up? My name is Arceus, and welcome back. This is a video about the upcoming patch 4.0.6 and how its changes affect Paladin tanks, specifically. So, let's get started. A few things. You'll notice my character is different. I'm actually on the PTR. Thought I'd give you guys, says PTR is actually in the patch, and it's not live yet. I'll be able to show you the changes more realistically. And also, I need to make a point about the tier 11 set, which you actually get on all your paladin characters, which is pretty sweet. I also had to be a blood elf, and because well, we don't have to go into that. But yes, I'm a blood elf. All right, let's get it out of the way now. Okay. A few quick things before we get started. I want to make one comment on glyphs. Now, priority system might have changed a little bit with the new patch, and I'm not an inscriptionist by any stretch of the imagination, so I have no idea if these are just coming in now or if they've been in the game forever. But some of them I'm looking at is this glyph called Glyph of Hammer of the Righteous. My usual glyph set would have been Glyph of Seal of Truth. But actually, with the expertise, personally, my setup, like how I'm trying to tool up my live character, he's actually ending up with numbers like expertise at 91, ridiculous numbers like that. So you don't really need that expertise boost if you're already above the cap with the gear you're going to have or wearing or whatever. But a great glyph to replace that if you pass the expertise gap is Glyph of Hammer of the Righteous, which increases the damage of both the physical and holy components of the ability by 10%. This is great to help us hold AoE threat even better. Pretty much nothing else has really changed as far as talents and glyphs are concerned. So let's go into abilities. Or actually, we'll start covering the actual patch notes. So changes for Paladin tanks. The mana costs of Blessing of Might and Kings have been increased to equalize with Mark of the Wild, almost approximately by 217%. That sounds like a lot, but they're each about, I would say, if you glyph for them, if you don't glyph for them, they're about 5,000 mana, which sounds like a lot if you're blessing. Well, it sounds like a lot, but not really. If you're only having to do it every hour, and if you're in a raid, you're only going to have to bless it once, maybe, or if you're in a raid, other people are going to be covering the other blessings, so you really only have to worry about ever casting one, and it lasts for an hour, so it's not like a big deal, but might as well get the minor glyphs just for the hell of it, because you can't really fill them out with anything else. But I'm assuming that's a change because some druids bitched, and because our blessings did the same effect but cost less. Big thing, Crusader Strike weapon damage. The damage from the weapon percentage has been increased by looks like 20%, from 115 to 135%. This is huge. I'm going to continue to stress this, and it's even a bigger deal in this new patch. Crusader Strike is so much better on a single target than Hammer. It's not even funny. It's hilarious. No. Okay. Seriously, though. It's ridiculous. It's getting better with every new thing they add in for Paladins. It's almost like they're yelling at every Paladin tank, you need to use Crusader Strike while taking a single target. Divine Plea only lasts for 9 seconds, and it gets 4% mana per tick instead of the 2 over the 15 seconds. I guess it's a bit of a help. We can actually use Divine Plea with no real subtraction to our tanking abilities. So if you're running low on mana, it does cost a tick on the global cooldown. But if you're just running on running low on mana and you're about to pull something, you could just click it real quick before you get into your rotation, and it'll add 12% of your base mana in 9 seconds. A big change to something we call Forbearance. Forbearance is the little debuff that pops up here that after you use something like Divine Shield? Yeah, there we go. Forbearance. It's a debuff, and it prevents you from having another super ability cast, another Paladin super ability. And there's several of them. Divine Shield's one of them. I believe Hand Protection doesn't even, Hand Protection's another. Lay on Hands. Those are the only ones I can think of. Oh, Divine Protection, duh. Those super abilities that have ridiculous effects cause Forbearance. And the changes that are going to be coming up in the patch is the duration has been lowered to 1 minute, down from 2. It's showing up as 2 minutes right now. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe they haven't put that in the PTR yet. That's what I'm reading in the patch notes. Lay on Hands causes Forbearance on anyone, not just the Paladin. Doesn't really affect us, although you might not want to cast Lay on Hands on another Paladin tank. Or another Paladin, period. Because they might be PO'd at you. Hey, why the hell did you call us Forbearance? Oh, yeah, it did last a minute. No, wait, I don't know. They might be like, oh, what the hell, you caused me Forbearance by giving me that, 145,000 heal. I was about to activate my Divine Shield and survive that AoE, whatever. Just take extreme caution when using Lay on Hands on other people, especially Paladins, because they might get PO'd, because it costs Forbearance now on other people. It's always cost Forbearance on us. Lay on Hands cannot be a critical strike, effect, whatever, healing terms, and it doesn't, it is not modified by Beacon of Light. This does not affect us really at all. Kind of, not really. And they changed the descriptions on Divine Shield, Divine Protection, and Hand of Protection. So it makes it a little bit more clear in there. Okay, but it still looks like they got the wording wrong, saying 2 minutes, because they say clearly it's supposed to be reduced down to 1 minute. Okay, other changes. Holy Wrath doesn't count critters. When you use Holy Wrath, it used to divide the damage between all available targets in a certain range, 10 yards circle around the tank, and it used to the game used to consider critters as one of your possible targets for that, and it would divide the damage with that critter in mind. They took that out. That's helpful because if you're tanking a group of mobs and there's a critter like a squirrel walking by in Grimbatal, you're gonna kill it, but it's not gonna divide the power of the ability hitting the other mobs, which is nice. Inquisition is no longer dispellable. It's PvP talent or PvP change. Inquisition, actually, if you can get 3 holy power charges to proc before fighting a boss, you can actually get a 30% holy damage buff for 30 seconds. An example of how to do this, and I've been trying to experiment this and never had it successfully. Probably something like Avenger Wrath or Divine Plea just gave me 3 charges. Okay, it's not Avenger's Wrath, it's Divine Plea. You can tell I'm still experimenting. So if you pop Divine Plea before battle and then hit Inquisition for the next oh whoops, I just totally screwed up. Oh snap, it's different for tanks. So for 12 seconds you'll have a 30% increase, which is it's enough for tanks. So what that means is for the next 12 seconds you're gonna have a 30% holy damage increase. So that's great too. That's awesome for starting out on a boss, because it'll basically give you a nice boost to your threat opening up, so that mage doesn't pull off at you in the first few seconds. Okay, next super big change is Rebuke. Rebuke It's a interrupt, and it can be trained by all paladins at 54. If you are existing paladins need to visit the trainer to have it trained, and you're gonna want to. They also took out the interrupt on Hammer of Justice. So this is huge for tanks. We actually have an interrupt with a 10-second cooldown. So if you're fighting that caster boss and she's about to cast the kill you in 10-second spell, you can just interrupt it if it's interruptible. An example of this would be Throne of the Tides, Lady the Naga Princess, whatever the hell her name is. She's got this ability that kills the tank, and when I run it, I was always like, okay, who's gonna interrupt it? And everyone's like, can't you do it? I'm like, no, they took it out. And then now I'll be able to just like walk in there, like just shut up in DPS. I'll be able to interrupt it, and it's a 10-second cooldown, so you'll be able to do it every single time. I wonder if I'm not sure if it does affect the global cooldown. I'll just try that. Nope, it doesn't. Okay, so you can be doing your rotation and just cast it, and it won't affect your abilities at all. So I definitely recommend putting that on your hotkeys because you're going to be using it a lot. Okay, Seal of Truth. On all single targets. All single target attacks can trigger the seal, including Judgment, Hammer of Wrath, Exorcism, and Templar's Verdict. Okay, so basically, you know, the giant description that is Seal of Truth, it says, unleashing this seal will deal 1,422 holy damage to an enemy, increased by 10% of each application of Censure. And Censure is basically this threat stack, or DPS stack, from Seal of Truth. All your single target attacks trigger that now. That's great for single and AoE. For single target especially, because Crusader Strike will trigger it. Says Judgment Well. I'm assuming Avenger Shield Well is. I'm assuming Avenger Shield Well will as well. Bleh. If you have it as focused, or even if you didn't, and there's just one guy, Shield of the Righteous, it's the target, so I'm assuming that would work that way as well. So great, more threats, more DPS, whatever you want, whatever you want to look at it like. It's great. The one protection specific change, Vindication no longer allows Hammer of Justice to interrupt stun immune targets. That makes perfect sense. Because now we have Rebuke. So they took out the interrupt on the Hammer of Justice. Whoop-de-doo. Okay. The way it used to work before this patch goes live, I'm talking the future sense, really weirdly. If it was immune to stuns, it would interrupt. That's what I'm getting from here, and now they took that out because obviously we have Rebuke, which you're going to be using a lot more than Hammer of Justice, especially while tanking bosses and raids and things like that. So that was all the patch note changes. I did want to go over one more thing. I wanted to cover the gear of Tier 11. Now that I'm actually wearing it on the PTR, I'm finding a good time to go over it. When the Blizzard's setting up your bags, I assume they give you like the best possible tanking pieces. They gave me 4 out of the 5 tier, which is all you need to get all the sets. And I wanted to go over some of these awesome set bonuses. First is increases your damage done by Crusader Strike ability by 10%. This makes Crusader Strike even a better ability on a single target. If you're using Hammer on a single target now while wearing 2 pieces of tier 11, you're missing out, buddy. Switch. Increases the duration for this foresight. Increases the duration of Guardian of the Ancient Kings by 50%. Great. We get half as much time extra now. So I can't do math. It's extra 9 seconds of protection. Great. Perfect. Awesome. Only need 4. I would probably go with only getting 4. So and just filling out another one with 359. Okay, that about does it. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned.